Right now, somewhere under the Pacific Ocean, a nuclear submarine is moving through complete darkness. No sunlight, no phone signal, 400 feet of freezing water above it. And inside that steel tube, one man is in charge of everything: the reactor, the weapons, the crew, the mission. He has the power to launch missiles that can flatten entire cities, and the entire U.S. Navy trusted him with that power. But he didn't start there. He started as a broke, terrified 22-year-old who couldn't find the bathroom on his first day aboard. I'm going to walk you through every single rank of a nuclear submarine officer, what your life actually looks like, what you're responsible for, what breaks you, and what builds you. From the very first day you step on that boat, all the way to the top. Let's get into it. Rank 1. Ensign. You just graduated. Naval Academy, ROTC, Officer Candidate School. Doesn't matter which path you took. You've got one gold stripe on your sleeve, a brand new uniform that still smells like the store, and absolutely zero real knowledge about anything that matters on a submarine. Your first stop isn't the boat. Before you ever see a submarine, the Navy sends you to Nuclear Power School in Goose Creek, South Carolina. 6 months, and I need you to understand what 6 months there actually means, because it is not like any school you have ever attended in your life. They take 2 full years of college-level nuclear engineering and compress it into 6 months. Thermodynamics, reactor physics, electrical theory, radiological controls, chemistry. You are in class all day and studying all night. The guys who were valedictorians, the guys who graduated top of their class at Annapolis, they are struggling. The washout rate is serious. If you fall behind, if you fail enough exams, you are pulled out and reassigned. No second chances, no appeals, you're gone. But let's say you make it through nuclear power school. Now comes prototype. They put you on an actual land-based nuclear reactor, a real operating plant, and you have to qualify on it. This isn't a simulation. This isn't a video game. You are standing in front of an actual nuclear reactor, putting your hands on actual controls, and you are responsible for what happens next. The first time you do that, something shifts inside you permanently. After prototype, you finally get orders to a submarine, and the first day you step aboard, this is where the humbling really begins. You walk through that hatch and immediately realize you have no idea where anything is. The boat is a maze of pipes, valves, electrical panels, and narrow passageways. Every system is interconnected with every other system in ways your brain hasn't mapped yet, and the enlisted sailors who have been living on this boat for 2 or 3 years, they know every inch of it. They know more than you. And they are going to let you know that politely, but clearly. You are handed a qualification card. It's thick, it covers every single major system on the submarine. Propulsion, weapons, navigation, damage control, the reactor plant. You have to personally trace every system, understand how it works, and then get quizzed on it by experienced petty officers and senior enlisted. These chiefs will test you without mercy. They will ask you trick questions. They will make you stand there for 20 minutes explaining a hydraulic system until you either know it cold or you crack. There's no faking it. Your days as an ensign look like this. You stand watch. Then you study qualifications. Then you stand watch again. Then you study some more. You eat whenever there's a gap. You sleep when they let you, which isn't much. You are the lowest ranking officer on the boat, and everybody knows it. But then, after months of grinding through that qual card, the day comes when the captain pins the dolphins on your chest, that gold submarine warfare pin, and the entire crew is watching. And in that moment, something that was proven through months of exhaustion becomes permanent. You are a submariner now. Nobody can ever take that from you, and nothing in your career will hit quite the same way. Rank 2, Lieutenant Junior Grade. A year and a half in, maybe 2 years. You've been promoted to Lieutenant Junior Grade. 2 stripes, and you're not the completely lost new guy anymore. You actually know where the bathroom is. More importantly, you know the boat. Now you're a department watchstander. Depending on your assignment, you're standing watch in the engine room, the torpedo room, or the control room. And now you have people under you, a small division of enlisted sailors, maybe 8 to 12 guys. These are your responsibility. Their training, their performance evaluations, their discipline, their career progression, that falls on you now. And here is where the weight of this job starts to settle in. At 2 a.m., 300 feet below the surface, when one of your guys comes to you and says, "Sir, we've got an abnormal reading on the steam generator." Nobody is coming to help you. You cannot call someone above you and ask what to do. You cannot look it up in real time. You have to know the answer immediately, make the right call, and execute it. Because on a nuclear submarine, hesitation costs lives. The submarine force has a culture built around something called no excuse. It doesn't mean you're expected to be perfect. It means there is no acceptable reason to not know your job. You were tired? Irrelevant. You were busy with something else? Irrelevant. At depth, the ocean doesn't care about your excuses, and neither does the reactor. You either know what you're doing or you don't. But here's the other side of this rank that nobody talks about: the brotherhood. When you're living in a steel tube with 135 people for 6 months at a time, sharing 12-hour watches, eating the same food, sleeping in the same cramped racks, something forms between you. You know these guys. You know who has kids at home. You know whose wife is having a hard time. You know who struggles with math and who's secretly the funniest person on the boat. These friendships aren't built in a bar on a Friday night. They're built in the bilges at 3 a.m. covered in hydraulic fluid, solving a problem that only the two of you know about. That bond is one of the things that keeps people in the submarine force long after the money and the rank and the career ambition would have pushed them out. Rank 3, Lieutenant. 3 to 5 years in, you've been promoted to lieutenant, and this is the rank where your life on a submarine fundamentally changes. You are now a division officer. You own a piece of the submarine: navigator, weapons officer, engineer's assistant. Depending on your department, you're managing 15 to 25 sailors, and the equipment and systems under your watch are worth tens of millions of dollars. If something in your division fails an inspection, if your guys aren't trained, if your equipment isn't maintained, that is a direct reflection on you, and it will follow you in your fitness reports. But the biggest thing that happens at lieutenant is you qualify as officer of the deck, OOD. When you earn that qualification, the captain hands you the con. You are now the officer in tactical command of the submarine. The captain might be sleeping, the XO might be in his stateroom, and you are it. You are the one making the calls. All stop. Make your depth 200 feet. Come to course 270. Those words come out of your mouth, and a 7,000-ton nuclear submarine does exactly what you told it to do. Stop and actually think about that for a second. You are 26 years old. You are driving a nuclear submarine through the most hostile and unforgiving environment on the planet. You are tracking contacts, other ships, other submarines. You are managing the reactor plant. You are responsible for every single life in that pressure hull. And if something goes wrong, the captain isn't going to sprint up to the control room and rescue you. He's going to wait and see if you handle it first. That's the whole point. This is the rank where the submarine force finds out who you really are. And this is also the rank where deployment starts to really cost you something. You're going to be gone for 6 months, maybe longer. Your family is back home watching the kids, paying the bills, mowing the lawn, fixing everything that breaks, alone, and you cannot call them. You cannot text them. The submarine goes quiet. Communication is tightly controlled for operational security reasons. What you get, if you're lucky, is something called a familygram. 30 words, handwritten or typed by your spouse or your parents. 30 words to cover everything that happened in your life back home in the last 3 weeks. Kids are fine. Dog had puppies. Pipe under the sink is fixed. Miss you. Come home safe. You read that piece of paper 15 times. You fold it up and put it in your shirt pocket, and you go back to your watch. Rank 4, Lieutenant Commander. 8 to 10 years in. You've been promoted to Lieutenant Commander. And at this rank, the path starts to narrow. If you want to command a submarine someday, if that's the goal, and for the serious ones it always is, you need to be selected for department head. This is not a given. The Navy convenes a board that looks hard at your service record, your fitness reports, how your divisions performed, how you handled pressure situations at sea. This is competitive, and not everyone gets selected. The ones who don't get their department head tour are generally looking at the exit door within a few years. If you're selected, you go back to school. Department head school prepares you to run an entire functional department: weapons, operations, or engineering. When you get back to a boat as a department head, you're managing 30 to 50 sailors. You are briefing the commanding officer every single morning. You are responsible for the tactical readiness of your entire department. The difference between being a division officer and being a department head is the difference between managing a room and managing a building. The scope of what can go wrong and what you're held accountable for is completely different. At this level, you also start to get comfortable with the reality that junior officers haven't had to face yet: the political dimension of your career. You are now in a group of officers who are all competing for the same prize. Command. Everybody knows it. The CO is evaluating you constantly. The squadron commodore sees your name in reports. Every decision you make at sea is being noted. Your temperament under stress, your relationship with your sailors, your judgment in ambiguous situations. All of it is data that someone, somewhere is using to decide whether you deserve the most important thing in this entire career path. Rank 5, Commander. The XO, Executive Officer. XO, second in command of a nuclear submarine. Let me be completely straight with you about this job. It is the hardest job on the boat. Not the most powerful, not the most respected, the hardest. Here's why. The captain is the vision. The captain makes the final call, sets the culture of the command, and is the face of everything the boat represents. But the XO is the machinery that makes the captain's vision actually happen. You are the chief administrator, the head disciplinarian, the personnel manager, the training coordinator, and the backup commanding officer, all simultaneously. The crew loves the captain, the crew fears the XO, and that is by design. You are the bad cop. When a sailor shows up drunk to the boat, fails a critical qualification, or makes a decision that puts the mission at risk, they come to Captain's Mast. And Captain's Mast is run by the XO. You look that 19-year-old kid in the eye, you read his record, you hear his side, and then you make a recommendation on his future. Sometimes that recommendation ends his career. And you have to be able to do that without flinching, because the integrity of the command depends on it. But here's the part that nobody prepares you for. That same sailor, the one you might have just punished at mast, comes to your stateroom at 2 a.m. 2 weeks later with a Red Cross message saying his father just died unexpectedly back home. And now you are the person who has to figure out emergency leave, coordinate with the squadron, call his family, and make sure this kid gets home. You carry the personal weight of 135 human beings on your back at all times. You are also standing watch, running drills, running inspections, managing the boat's administrative functions, keeping the captain informed of everything happening below decks, and doing all of this while being constantly evaluated on whether you are ready for command yourself. Because that's what the XO Tour is. It's a final exam. The entire Navy is watching to see if you are ready to have your own boat. And if your XO Tour goes well, your name goes on the list. Rank 6. Captain, Commanding Officer. Your name is on the list. You've been selected for command. You go through prospective commanding officer school. You've lived this job from every angle below it, and then one morning you walk aboard that submarine and they pipe you aboard as commanding officer, United States ship, arriving, and 135 sailors come to attention. For you, I don't care how prepared you thought you were, that moment will stop you in your tracks. Life as a submarine CO is something that cannot be fully described from the outside. You are responsible for literally everything: the operational readiness of the boat, the welfare of the crew, the success of the mission. If the reactor has a problem, your problem. If a sailor commits a crime ashore, your problem. If the boat fails a major inspection, your career is potentially finished. There is nowhere to hide and no one else to point at. It's all you. But here's what you get in exchange for that weight. At sea, you are the law. There is no higher authority within hundreds of miles. You decide how to execute the mission. You decide how to run every aspect of your boat. Every tactical decision, every operational call, every personnel matter, yours. The autonomy is extraordinary. For a person who has spent their entire career being evaluated and told what to do, suddenly being the one who decides everything is both terrifying and intoxicating. And the crew. These men and women would follow you anywhere. They trust you with their lives. Not as a figure of speech, literally. And when you lead them well, when you take that boat into harm's way and bring every single person home safely, the bond between a commanding officer and his crew is unlike anything else in human experience. It's not friendship exactly, it's something deeper. It's forged from shared risk and shared sacrifice and shared silence at the bottom of the ocean. Command tours last 2 to 3 years, and then the day comes when you are relieved of command. You read your orders, you say your words to the crew, you walk down that brow for the last time as their captain, and grown men cry, I promise you, grown men cry. Because they know, and you know, nothing that comes after will ever feel quite like this. Rank 7. Rear Admiral. The very select few. If your record is clean, your command was successful, and the right people know your name for the right reasons, you might be selected for flag rank. 1 star, Rear Admiral lower half. You no longer command one submarine. You command a squadron. 10, 12 submarines, thousands of sailors, billions of dollars of equipment. The scope of your responsibility has expanded beyond what any single human being can directly manage, which means your job is now fundamentally about building the right team around you and making strategic decisions rather than tactical ones. Your life transforms completely at this point. You are in Washington. You are at the Pentagon. You are briefing members of Congress on submarine force readiness. You are in classified briefings about real geopolitical threats, and you are helping shape the American response to those threats. The work is important, genuinely, critically important, but it is a different kind of important than what you were doing before. The intimate connection you had with your crew as a commanding officer is gone. You have a staff now. You have aides. You don't stand watch. You don't crawl through bilges. You don't get familygrams. Some admirals love this level. They were built for grand strategy. For others, the ones who got into submarines because they love the ocean, love the boat, love the raw operational reality of it, they sit in these conference rooms and quietly miss the con. Rank 8, Vice Admiral. Admiral. We are now talking about the rarest people in the entire United States military. Vice Admiral, commander of all submarine forces in the Pacific or Atlantic, or further, Full Admiral, Chief of Naval Operations, the most powerful uniformed officer in the U.S. Navy. At this level, you are not managing a boat or a squadron or even a fleet in the traditional sense. You are shaping American military strategy. The submarines under your command carry nuclear ballistic missiles, weapons capable of destroying entire cities. The patrols you authorize, the deterrence posture you maintain, the tactical doctrine you set for the entire submarine force, these decisions ripple outward in ways that affect global stability, in ways the public never sees and never knows about. You have spent 30-plus years getting here. You have missed a staggering number of birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, and ordinary Tuesday evenings at home. You have stood watch in nuclear reactors at 3 in the morning. You have written letters to the families of sailors who didn't come home. You have made calls that put people in danger because the mission required it. And now you sit across a table from the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States, and you tell them what the submarine force can do and what it cannot do and what it will take to win. Very few people in human history have ever held this kind of weight, and every single one of them started with one gold stripe on their sleeve and a qual card they couldn't finish fast enough, from ensign to admiral, from crawling through bilges memorizing valve positions to briefing the president on nuclear deterrence strategy. Every rank on that ladder costs something: time, relationships, comfort, sleep, the version of yourself that you would have been if you'd chosen an easier path. But every rank also gives something back: competence, respect, brotherhood, purpose. The feeling, rare in this world, of knowing that what you are doing actually matters. The submarine force is not for everyone. It never claimed to be. But for the ones it calls completely. If this hit for you, drop a comment below. Tell me which rank you think is the hardest. I read every single one. See you in the deep.